What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC San Diego. We have Marlon Vera going against Dominic Cruz.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we're back breaking down some Draftkings this week. This week we have a 13-fight slate. Of course, we have the two fights that were supposed to be on UFC Vegas 59. On this card, Jason Witt going against Josh Quinlan, and then Priscilla Cachoeira going against Ariana Lipski. So yeah, I'm actually really liking this card from a DraftKings perspective, and I can't wait to break it down. Before we do so, as always, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you do want extra content, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Lots of stuff going on over there behind the scenes for some content there. So I say we get into it, and as always, we're going to start with the fight doesn't go to decision lines, and we have some big ones here. We have minus 400, fight doesn't go to decision. Charlie Ontiveros going against Gabriel Benitez. Both these guys are extremely dangerous, and Ontiveros has been finished a ton. Ontiveros has been finished in all 8 of his losses, all 8 coming by knockout, and Benitez has been finished in 6 of 10 losses, 4 coming by knockout as well. I think somebody's getting knocked out here, and somebody's getting knocked out in the very first round. I do have a strong lean to Gabriel Benitez at 9,300. I think he does find that first round finish, but Ontiveros is going to go out there, probably throw caution to the wind, and we have seen Benitez knocked out in his last 2 fights. So I do like Benitez, but as far as a pump play goes, I don't think Charlie Ontiveros is the worst option in the world. Next we have Bruno Silva going against Gerald Meerschaert. Another fight where I think somebody gets finished in the first round, and I think that somebody getting finished in the first round is going to be Gerald Meerschaert. It feels like a terrible matchup for him. Bruno Silva, very good takedown defense, very good get-up game, and on top of that, just a ton of power. I feel like this fight does play standing for the majority of the time, and if it does, Bruno Silva hits like an absolute truck. Gerald Meerschaert, we've seen him get hurt a ton, we've seen him knocked out a ton, and I think Bruno Silva does find the finish here early in the first round, so I like Bruno Silva quite a bit. And again, Meerschaert, he's not the worst pump play in the world. He's always able to, pull off these submissions here or there. And if he does get this fight down to the mat, Bruno Silva has been finished 5 times by submission. So I don't want to completely rule out Gerald Meerschaert, and I'll definitely have a little bit as far as a pump play goes, but most of my money is going to be on Bruno Silva this week. Next, we have David Onama going against Nate Landwehr, minus 220. Fight doesn't go to decision. We'll talk about it a little bit, but I'm very high on David Onama this week on DraftKings. One of my favorite plays, and we'll kind of talk about why in a little bit. But as far as this fight goes, this fight I think it does finish here. David Onama has a 100% finish rate. Nate Landwehr has been finished in 3 of his 4 losses, 2 coming in the first round in the UFC. We got knocked out by Herbert Burns, and then got knocked out by Julian Erosa. David Onama, defensively, doesn't have the best striking defense, but neither does Landwehr. I think these guys are going to throw down, and I think the guy that hits much, much harder is Onama. I think Onama knocks out Landwehr here and probably does it in the first round. So I'm looking for Onama to get an early finish here. Nate Landwehr, he's a dog. He's going to be there up until, he gets knocked out, or, he's going to make this a very tough fight, but I think Onama hits extremely hard, and Landwehr is very hittable, and I don't think he's going to want to eat that power from Onama, and I think Onama does knock him out. But as far as Landwehr goes, 7,600, don't think is the worst play in the world, but I am personally very high on Onama this week. Next, we have Josh Quinlan going against Jason Witt, and we see some difference between the prices compared to the Witt-Quinlan fight, and then the Lipski-Cachoeira fight. There's some big difference in the prices. So this week, we have Josh Quinlan, who is 9,100, and we have Jason Witt, who is 7,100. Off the top of my head, I think it was Quinlan last week was like 87, and I think Witt was like 75, something like that. But yeah, these are a lot wider than they were last week. So I will have some Quinlan. I think he's live for a knockout here, but I also will have some Witt. If Witt wins this fight, expect a ton of takedowns, expect a ton of control time, and there are a lot of question marks and red flags on the Quinlan side. So I think Witt is another very dog play here, but Quinlan can absolutely knock out Jason Witt. Jason Witt, like Charlie Ontiveros, has been finished in all of his losses and like 5 losses by knockout. So yeah, this is another fight you definitely want to target, the Quinlan and Witt fight. But I think all 4 of these fights are definitely good ones to target. Let's move on to our core plays. Gabriel Benitez, we talked about a little bit, 9,300. Charlie Ontiveros, I don't think he's UFC caliber. I don't think he has the best durability at all. I actually think he has the worst durability in the UFC. Gabriel Benitez hits very, very hard, kicks very hard. I think one leg kick, one body kick, and the fight could be over shortly after. I think Benitez is super live for a first round finish here. David Onama, 8,600. The price is just off. It's just simply off. We have David Onama, who at this point is like the second biggest favorite on the entire card. I see him right now, minus 330. That means he should be priced up there at 9,200. He's a bigger favorite than Lupi. 9,100. He's a bigger favorite than Quinlan. 9,000. He's a bigger favorite than Bruno Silva at the moment. It's only Gabriel Benitez who is the bigger favorite than David Onama at this point, but it is getting very close. So yeah, David Onama is just simply underpriced here. And on top of that, he has a ton of upside. A 100% finish rate for David Onama. And again, Landwehr has been finished 3 times. So I like Onama here. I think there's a ton of value on him at 8,600. He simply is just way underpriced here, according to the odds. Marlon Vera, 8,500. I'm going to have a ton of this main event, and it's going to be pretty even in terms of the ownership, I think. Maybe even more Dominic Cruz just because of the salary here, but I am personally on the Marlon Vera side. It's a very interesting main event. We have a minute winner in Dominic Cruz, who is probably going to land more significant strikes, is probably going to get more takedowns, more control time, is probably going to win the minutes of this fight. And then we have the moment winner in Marlon Vera, who is the guy that is more likely to finish the fight. This guy is an absolute finisher, whereas Dominic Cruz is like a 30-something% finish rate. And he's going to be having the bigger moments as well. He's going to be, if there's knockdowns, it'll be on the Marlon Vera side. If there's a finish, it's going to be on the Marlon Vera side. Overall, a pretty close fight, but I do lean with the finishing ability of Marlon Vera. I do think he eventually does finish Dominic Cruz. If this does go to decision, I think it's going to be extremely close. The volume of Cruz, the takedowns of Cruz, or the big shots of Marlon Vera. But I will lean towards Marlon Vera eventually getting Dominic Cruz out there. But I think both guys are very much in play here. And then Bruno Silva, 9,000. Just like Gabriel Benitez, I think he's very live for that first round knockout. I don't think Mearshart is going to be able to take these shots. I don't think Mearshart is going to be able to get Silva down. And if he's not, it's going to be just a long night, or a very short night, actually, because I think Bruno Silva knocks him out very early on. Moving on to our GPP plays here, our tournament plays, we have Azamat Mirzakhanov, 8,400. I think he'll be pretty low owned here. I think a lot of people are on the Devin Clark side. I am not one of those people. And you take a look at Azamat, he is super dangerous. He doesn't have the most volume in the world. He doesn't have the best cardio in the world. But what he is dangerous. He's powerful. Hits super hard, and Devin Clark's been hurt a ton. Devin Clark's been finished in 6 of 7 losses. Azamat, a 82% finish rate. I think if Azamat wins, not only is he going to be low owned here, but I think if he wins, it's going to be by finish, and potentially even in the first round when he's fresh. So I like Azamat here. 8,400 is a really good price, especially with that finish upside. And again, I do think he will be fairly low owned because the majority of people this week are on Devin Clark. Next we have Martin Budai, 8,900. I think he's the much bigger fighter here. He's going to have like a 30 to 40 pound size advantage here. He's the much bigger heavyweight in this fight, whereas Bresky probably could be a light heavyweight. On top of that, Budai is going to be much stronger. I think he's going to use that size to kind of grind on Bresky, get him tired. Bresky has some of the worst gas tank you'll ever see, and I think Budai is very live for a finish in this fight. I think he's very live to get takedowns, get a ton of control time, and I think that second round finish is definitely on the table because Bresky is literally slowing down in like the first 3 minutes of the fight. So I like Budai. I think he's a pretty good option there at 8,900. Yasmin Jauregui, we have 8,700 here, and Jauregui's a very, very good finisher, and both fighters are actually Jauregui and Lucendo. We have Jauregui, who does have a 75% finish rate, whereas Lucendo has a 77% finish rate. But yeah, Yasmin Jauregui is a savage. She is going to be the better striker in this matchup. She throws a ton of volume, and she throws with a ton of power for the division. And if Yasmin Lucendo is not able to get this fight down to the mat, she's going to be in big trouble here. Lucendo taking the fight on short notice. Lucendo cutting down to 115 for the first time in a while. I think Yasmin here has a very good chance to find a finish. And again, she's going to be extremely low owned. So I do like me some Yasmin Jauregui, and I do like her to win inside the distance at 8,700. Lupe Godinez, 9,200. I think she's going to be one of the more popular plays on the entire slate, and rightfully so. She has clear takedown upside, clear control time upside. I do think it's going to be a lot harder to take down Angela Hill than it was to take down Ariana Carnelosi. Angela Hill has a very good takedown defense of like 78%, whereas Carnelosi literally has an 8% takedown defense. But still, I think Godinez is able to get this fight down to the mat, is able to rack up some control time. I don't think she finishes Angela Hill. 9,200, I think she is definitely in play here. Some live dogs. Jason Witt, 7,100. It's just the price for me. I mean, he's way too cheap here. A big drop down from last week. Like I said, I think it was like 7,600 or 7,500 last week, something like that in that range. And now he's 7,100 this week. And his game plan is going to be getting this fight down to the mat, landing a ton of takedowns, a ton of control time. If Jason Witt is able to pull off this win, he's going to score a ton. He's going to be in the optimal lineup more often than not. So I do like me some Jason Witt. Do I think he gets knocked out? Probably, but there are a lot of red flags on Quinlan. This fight got moved back because something was still in his system and just a lot of sketchy stuff on the Josh Quinlan side. I think Jason Witt is live to go out here and wrestle for 15 minutes, and if he does, 7,100, I do like that. Priscilla Cachoeira, 7,500. Another instance where last week, I think it was Lipsky was like 8,400 and Cachoeira was 7,800. So again, we're getting some interesting prices here. Lipsky got priced up and Cachoeira got priced down. And Cachoeira, she is going to come forward the entire time. She's going to throw with big power. Lipsky has been knocked out 3 times. I don't hate Cachoeira as a dog in this matchup. Lipsky, she went to the hospital or something last fight after missing weight. Not the best look in the world. We'll see how she looks at weigh-ins this week. Shouldn't be too much of a problem because the fight is at 135 pounds. But if Lipsky is compromised in any type of way, you don't want to be compromised going into a fight against someone, as much of a dog as Priscilla Cachoeira is. She's going to be coming forward the entire time and landing big shots on you. So I don't think Cachoeira is the worst dog in the world at 7,500. Tyson Nam, 7,400. Ode Osborne is 8,800 here, just pretty expensive. And Ode's been looking really good, but there are some flaws in his game. The first flaw is the 42% striking defense. Ode is very, very hittable. The cardio is not good on the Ode side. He cuts a lot of weight to get down to 125 pounds. There's also some things you don't like on the Nam side. Nam is now 38 years old. He's taken a 1.5 year layoff. You don't like to see either of those things, but what Nam does have is some serious power, and Ode Osborne's very, very hittable. A Tyson Nam knockout would not completely shock me, and he's 7,400 there, so I don't hate a shot on Tyson Nam for that knockout power. He's not going to throw a ton of volume. He's not going to wrestle, but he's going to throw with a ton of power, and, he could potentially land on Ode Osborne there, who has been knocked out before. So I don't mind some shots on Tyson Nam at 7,400. Dominic Cruz, 7,700, probably the most popular dog on the entire slate, and rightfully so. 5 rounds to work with. He's probably going to have the volume advantage, the wrestling advantage here. But, like I said earlier, it's going to be Marlon Vera who's landing the bigger shots. If there's a finish, it is going to be coming from Marlon Vera. We have seen Cruz finished a few times. But yeah, if this fight does go to decision, I see it being very, very close. Are the judges going to favor the volume, the movement of Dominic Cruz, or are they going to favor the less volume, the bigger shots of Marlon Vera? We'll have to see, but I don't mind me some Dominic Cruz at 7,700 here. Pump plays, we have 2 of them here. We have Charlie Ontiveros, 6,900. I mean, both these guys, the definition of a pump play. I think they both get finished in the first round. But, Ontiveros, he has a ton of power. Gabriel Benitez, he's been knocked out 4 times at this point in the UFC. If Ontiveros does win, there's a good chance it's by knockout, and there's a good chance it's in the very first round. So for that reason, I will have some pump plays of Charlie Ontiveros. Gerald Meerschaert, 7,200. Gerald Meerschaert, always pretty much the definition of a pump play. Even in matchups where you don't really expect him to win, he's always live to go in there and get the fight down to the mat and eventually find that submission. You don't want to completely rule out a guy like Gerald Meerschaert in your lineups. He's like a 94% finish rate, something crazy like that. Silva's been finished a good amount of times. I will be playing both of these guys as far as pump plays go, sprinkling both of them. Just 2 guys that have so much upside in their own right, but I personally think they both get knocked out in the first round. All right, and then fades. I'm just pretty much fading this fight as a whole. The Cynthia Calvillo-Nina Nunez fight just really don't want nothing to do with it. Calvillo probably has some wrestling upside, probably has some control time upside. I don't think there's really finish upside on either side there. Not going to get to either fighter, and there's really no other fight I'd really fade outright. I'm not going to have a ton of the Zalal Blackshear fight. I guess that's another one you could look into fading. But yeah, this is a fight as a whole I'm just not really touching there. 55% finish rate for Calvillo, 60% for Nunez. Just not interested in playing this fight, really. So that is about it. We covered everything there. If you guys do enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content. Optimizer targets, projections, ownership projections, all the good stuff. Tons of other content, article. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Best of luck for UFC San Diego. Next week, we do have UFC 278. Cannot wait for that. And yeah, let's make some money. Should be a very fun DraftKings card, and definitely looking forward to it. Best of luck this week, guys.